Welcome to Billy Review Stuff, where I review stuff. Today I'm doing a retro review of the Marvel Legends Toybiz Legendary Riders Hulkbuster. This figure came out in 2006, so at this point we're still in 2004, so it's 18 years old, if I'm doing my math vaguely right there. And I believe, if I remember off the top of my head, let's see if we can get this right, it was in a wave of, I think, like 6 or 8 figures. I think it was 8 figures. And they had like The Thing, I think it was Vengeance, one of the Ghost Rider characters. Maybe Wonder Man, maybe Ultron. I think the Scarlet Witch, Wolverine, and what was it? It was something else. It's I think Taskmaster. There, but like out of all of them, between The Thing and Hulkbuster, to me were the coolest looking ones, and I've managed to keep this one around since then. I remember picking it up in a Walmart, having that solid freaking plastic clamshell on there and trying to open that up with a pair of scissors and just amazingly not cutting off any fingers that were important, and getting him out and messing around with him. And back then he was very sturdy back then. Over time, this figure has where that center abdomen, which I wrongly thought for some reason had where it was a ball joint into the hips towards the bottom, but it's a ball joint at the top of it, has where it will split apart at the seam, and I had to super glue mine back together. But now he's still sturdy. He's sturdy again. One of his only accessory besides a card was a glider piece that stuck on his back like a weird set of wings. It was more for him to stand on. Let me go ahead and just pop that on there. Here he is with it on his back. It's not super impressive looking. It's neat though. And here it is on his feet. Fun fact, it doesn't work well on a very small turntable, but you see what you get. Apparently the Hulkbuster needs a flying wing to go beat the crap out of the Hulk. So that's a thing. It has where it's made of gold plastic. It hasn't deteriorated amazingly. It's still solid. None of the pegs have broken off. It's neat. It's neat. But let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation on the Toybiz Hulkbuster. So articulation on the Toybiz Hulkbuster from 2006. Toybiz was incredibly ambitious with their articulation. I believe one of the figures that inspired them was an old Grappler Baki action figure from Japan that had where it just had an insane amount of crazy articulation in it. And they tried to put that into every figure in the Marvel Legends line to varying degrees and lots of different ways of doing it. But at least with the Hulkbuster, it's 75% good, maybe even 80% good. He has no helmet articulation other than it flipping up and then showing off a rad head sculpt of Tony Stark. Let me get that there. See that? You can see that Tony Stark head. Let me crane him down. It's on a ball joint. It can move around in there. It's neat looking. He's got a lot of chin to him. There's some sculpted detail in there. It's neat. Got little gauges and little light things and some stuff back there. It's painted. I like when detail like this is painted. Back into the abyss. He has where his shoulder pads are on a slight hinge, so they can hinge up a little bit on both sides to make clearance for his arms a little bit. Just like the brand new Hulkbuster, he has hinges and twists at the shoulder. They can go all the way around. There's a lot of sculpted detail on there. Messing around with it, it still feels solid. It doesn't feel like this is going to break off yet. He has bicep rotation. I believe at one point maybe this was the same color as the rest of him. It's a little like the bicep has where it's maybe darkened over the past 18 years, but it's still neat. It is solid into that elbow. The elbow can go to a good 90 there, and then into his big fist, well, hand. It has a twist at the wrist, and then it has a hinge joint, which is like kind of ribbed and was it detented in there, so it'll lock into place. And then he has 4 articulated fingers. He's got a thumb, a first finger, I guess you'd say a super middle finger. You can get that going there, and then a large pinky. Very neat. I mean, like, I would have preferred him to have fists. I mean, you can have him slapping the Hulk. You could have him grabbing the Hulk's hands for sure. But that's a nitpick there. Nitpick through the ages. Then he has, it's not a ball joint up in here as it you would think it was. It has where it's like a, I guess you would say like a T-plunger that goes into here, and then it actually has a spring to cause tension there. And that's why these things kind of like pop forward and around there, and just kind of, it's not ratcheted. It just has where it's that spring and just kind of moving around in there. But he can go so far back, so far forward, and he's got his side to side. And I regret saying it on my review for the new Hulkbuster. He does have a twist here, but at least with his, it does have where the abdomen's going into, I guess you'd say, the pelvis area there. And it doesn't look bad when he spins around. So, I mean, that's a tally in the favor of this one. He has the same kind of, hinge and twist hips there. He doesn't have the same kind of articulation that the new one does. So it doesn't have a ton of range of motion. Maybe that's why he has a glider. He has a twist at the top of the hip. He does have double knees from 2006 there. I mean, like, they're not bad, honestly. He just has where he's got weird proportions. I can't fault him for that too much. He doesn't have any kind of like twisting foot at the bottom here, so you can't go that way. He does have where his foot does kick forward. It does kick back some, and it does have a little ankle rocker to it. It's not a lot, and it's kind of loose. Maybe that's also why he has a glider. But he also has a little toe kick. So that's all the articulation on the Toybiz 2006 Hulkbuster. And honestly, that's a lot of articulation for a figure from 2006. This was super articulated back then. And honestly, if you just count the number of articulation points on it, it's still super articulated by today's Marvel Legends standards, honestly. So take that as you will. I think I'm going to pass on comparisons because, I mean, it's so unique at this point. Because, I mean, if you put, look at that, I'm doing comparison. If you put him by like a modern Hulk here, he's still a big figure. He still can maybe pose well, maybe have where he photographs well with newer figures because he is a suit of armor. It doesn't have where it's like crazy stylized Hulk from then, or like weird proportion Toad, or stuff like that. It has where he's enough of a character. I think he can still look good in a collection if he still has good paint. I feel like mine still has good paint there. But let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of the original Hulkbuster, especially versus the new Hulkbuster? God dang, he's tall compared to him. Are you definitely picking up the new Hulkbuster to replace your old Hulkbuster? There you go. Now you're in frame. Did you have this figure? Did you collect Toybiz back then in 2006, 2004, around then? Let me know down in the comments below. And what do you think of these, like, kind of not super long, but a retro review? It might be something I start doing because I've been going through my collection and I got a lot of old stuff that I still love and I don't want to get rid of, and I want to talk about it because I like talking toys. I like talking collectibles. I like talking nerd stuff. But please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Later, guys.